Hello, church. Mark and I really felt that we needed to give the church an update because of the things that have happened here lately. Mark would have been here, but as you know, he has mild dysplasia and it's blood disease, and he's just been really fatigued and as of late, and so he took the week off. This last Monday, many of you already know, one of our facility guys found a taped letter to the outside door window out by the street, which was a cease and desist order from the county of San Diego. And basically it said, you have to stop having church. That's right, you have to stop having church. When COVID-19 first came into the United States, and we didn't know how serious it was or how many, of course, Foothills Church shut down. But as months went by, and we learned more and more about it, the medical community learned more and more about COVID-19, it became pretty clear that we could have church with a minimum of risk for people who did not have underlying conditions. So we followed CDC guidelines. We did everything they recommended. And then during the summer, we moved the church outside because that made it even safer. But it's impractical for us to continue meeting out there. It's cold, besides the fact that it costs a lot of money. To make a long story short here, we're going to continue to have church. We don't want to disobey our local authorities, but here are the reasons why we believe we don't have a choice. The first is the Bible. The Bible's pretty specific. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Christians have always interpreted that to mean we need to meet together, worship our God, celebrate his resurrection. Not to mention the ministry that takes place when we meet together, the ministry that takes place here at our church every day of the week. Come to me, Jesus said, all ye who are labor and heavy laden, I'll give you rest. Suffer the little children to come unto me. We could go on and on. Do not forsake the assembling together, Paul says in the book of Hebrews. Why? He says, so that we can stimulate one another to love and good deeds. There isn't a better place for people to come where they have problems than the church. The church has the answer. We know that. Since COVID began, we've had an increase in, the CDC reports there's been an increase in anxiety disorder, depression, substance abuse, suicide, domestic violence, all these things. And who better than the church to help? We want to help people with these problems. The second reason why we're going to continue to stay open is because we have a constitutional right to do so. The Constitution gives us religious freedom to worship God, to peaceably assemble and worship God. And I guess I just have to be blunt and say, no government official's directive supersedes my constitutional right to peaceably assemble and worship my God. The third reason are facts. We believe we can meet safely and people just won't be at risk. If you have an underlying condition, we recommend you stay home. We have church online. Don't take a chance. We have no problem with that. But for most of us, we need to worship our God. I want to give you some facts why we believe that having church is really a minimal risk. As of this last Monday, these were right on San Diego Health Department website. There have been 66,319 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in San Diego County. This goes way back, from I guess probably March. Now that's only 2.1% of the total population of San Diego County, which is about 3.1, 3.2 million people, depending on who you ask. Out of those 666,319 people who have gotten COVID, 933 people have died. Many from underlying conditions. I am not minimizing one of those deaths. Each one of those people who died had family who loved them. It was tragic. Not trying to say that. But you have to look at that in context of everything else. The number of people who got COVID where it was life-threatening and they passed away is 1.4%. Only 1.4% of the total number of people who got COVID did it turn out to be life-threatening. That means that if you and I or anyone you know gets COVID, they have a 98.6% chance of coming through it just fine. It not being life-threatening. So for us to shut down the church, to give up our constitutional rights, when we have a 98.6% chance of, if we even get this disease, coming through it safely, that just doesn't add up for us. We're going to continue to have church. Church is essential. Mark and I would ask that you would pray. That you would pray for Mark and I, our church staff, our board. You would pray for the other churches and businesses who have made a decision to stay open. Pray for our government officials, the San Diego County Health Department, our governor. We need to come, there needs to be some balance, and we need to come to terms here because the present way things are done cannot continue, and we all understand that. So let's just pray. Our church, we aren't doing this to be rebellious. We don't believe we have a choice. We believe we have the constitutional right and a biblical mandate to do it. Along with Peter and John, Acts 5, we would say to our government officials, you be the judge, whether we're to obey God or your edict. But Joshua, for me and our house, our church, we're going to serve the Lord. See you at church on Sunday, 6:30 Saturday, 9 and 10:45. Unless you have an underlying condition, stay home, watch us online. To God be the glory. See you this weekend.